We were antagonizing him during a meeting yesterday, just being so foolish. I think that's the first time I have laughed, and it was
worth it.
It was. I needed it, so it was worth it.
So I brought in some little presents for Christy.
Tell everyone about Jeff.
So we should get him. We should have brought him over. So
I'll go get him.
Okay.
Tell everyone about Jeff. I'll go get him. I'm going to trust that Tim knows what he's talking about with the camera because
here's hoping.
Here's hoping for the best. You didn't comment on my pom-poms.
It's because I've been obsessed with them and just like moth to flame, staring at them.
Thanks.
There weren't any words I could think of.
Yeah, I understand.
I love them.
Well, we're back. So we've been gone.
We have for quite a bit of time.
That was an accident.
Yeah.
That was an accident. So we are back finally. Hopefully for good.
New versions of us and the podcast, I would say.
Well, we gave ourselves time. So, jokes aside, my dad died. Really bad time. And instead of like pushing through that, because that was not happening, we just took a break because needed a break.
Yeah. We had talked about possibly...
I didn't silence my phone.
Oh, good job. We had talked about trying to continue it because before you were on bereavement leave, you were doing it pretty much all by yourself because I was on medical leave.
Yes.
For a big chunk of time and had surgery and a bumpy recovery. And so when it looked like you really needed to take time off, we were like, this is like the universe telling us to just take a break, take a pause, and we'll get back to it when we're whole again.
Well, and this is not like any other work we do. This requires having soul, like light in your eyes, and the light completely died out of my eyes.
Yeah.
Like I could not, even now, I'm like, this is like the first week that I have not felt like dying and like sitting here and being able to even be any sort of level of charismatic and want to talk about anything.
Mm-hmm.
This is not happening before now. And so it was a lot. It's been a lot of pressure because I was so dedicated to like getting out a podcast episode every single week for a lot of reasons, because we promised that. And also because getting a podcast launched in the first place it's been hard. And part of it is like, I knew that getting like episodes out routinely was going to make a big difference in analytics and growth. So I was scared like that dropping that was going to
lose the momentum.
Lead to failure, people being like, look, they were never serious in the first place. Like all that. And ultimately it had to just be like, I don't care. My dad is dead. Like we have to just like regroup and take time to regroup. So we've been regrouping and we're going to come back anew with new things. So
we wanted to talk about talk about what we've been dealing with, talk about why this episode in particular is special.
Yes.
And significant for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And also the new things that we have come up with, new ideas, and how the podcast is changing. And so why don't we first talk about why this episode in particular is special?
Yes. So this week is we agreed to be a part of a podcastathon. So we are sponsoring the American Cancer Society, which that is super significant for both of us because my dad just died of cancer. Your mom passed away also from cancer 2 years ago. Yeah. So it's close to both of us, especially right now. So it was exciting that we got to pick something like that for the podcast to sponsor. And so we thought like this was the perfect week to come back swinging. So
and talk a little bit about how cancer affected not just our personal life, but our work life.
Yes.
What helped us when we did come back to work, because there are a lot of people who are currently in the middle of it,
Yes.
or this is, the days are coming when they're going to be at the point that we were at.
Yeah.
And
And I
so,
don't know. I don't think I'm going to say like who, but we also have someone who works here who also is struggling with cancer.
mhm.
So it's close to other people in the office
Yeah,
here.
it's touched a lot of the people in our office.
And I think it touches a lot of people in general,
Yeah.
but just kind of tying that back into working and marketing is kind of just like when we've talked about this before, like life just does not stop for you and doesn't really matter. Like if you have cancer and someone that you love most in the world is going to die, it's like life and work and marketing goes on, like with or without you.
It's a weird, I remember thinking that when I came back to work after my mom died, that I felt like I had jet lag.
Hmm.
I don't know if it felt like that for you, but
Hmm.
I felt like I was living the same day as my coworkers
Yeah.
in the same hours, but I was behind.
Yeah.
And there was no easy way to catch up. And like they were all living in the present,
Hmm.
but I was still with the dead
Yeah.
and I wasn't alive again yet.
Yeah.
I was still with carrying so much of my mom and her passing. And so it was just hard not to feel that jet lag and
Hmm.
try to work through it. You're like working in slow motion and feeling like I'm never gonna get back to where I was.
Yeah. I think for me, I feel similar to that. I feel like it was just, and think I'm still there to a degree. I'm
Yeah.
definitely still there
Oh
to a
yeah.
degree.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely less severe, but it's been like just an anger of like, I don't care about any of this
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah.
Like it like puts things in perspective. I'm just like,
It
I don't
does.
care about anything else. And I don't like it just, it puts, it just puts you in that headspace. And so it's hard to get yourself back to like, I have to care.
And
I have
y-
to start getting back to caring.
mhm.
And it's hard to transition. And
And it's a forced transition when you work for someone other than yourself
yes.
because the average bereavement leave is like 3 to 5 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how much of that time after someone you love dies is being taken up by the practical, aspects of
Yeah.
someone dying,
Yeah.
paperwork, organizing a funeral,
Right.
um, taking care of expenses,
Yeah.
like going through things.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have time to just sit with your loss
Mm-hmm.
or to process it. And then immediately from doing that, you're back to work. And while people might, give you a card or a bunch of flowers,
Yeah.
the expectation is okay, time to get back to work.
Yeah.
You've got to be on.
Yeah.
You've got to
Yeah.
switch gears and,
Yeah.
okay, that happened.
Yeah.
This is what needs to happen now.
Yeah.
And no normal human being can make that shift
Not
that
fast.
quick.
Yeah.
And I think if you're the head of the company, you need to be a human about it,
Yeah.
um, and recognize that you're not going to get the best from your people
Mm-hmm.
immediately after they come back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you need time to process it.
Yeah, we were
And
both so fortunate, like
yeah,
working for Bill, because he's just the most understanding and the most gracious.
he was
Like,
fantastic. When my mom passed, I went from originally I was gonna he was like, take a week. And I was like, okay, that should be good.
hmm.
But I went from my sisters and brother and family. We provided my mom with her hospice care,
Hmm.
which, if you're considering doing that, side note here,
Don't.
really think about that
Yeah.
because I don't know if a word exists to encapsulate what that does to you.
Yeah.
Um, but I went from providing her hospice care, and then when I drove home the morning she died, I came home and my husband and my daughter had 102 fevers
Mm.
and they were both wicked sick.
Mhm.
And I was just, I think I slept maybe an hour because I'd been up for 30 hours. And I slept for a couple hours and then it was right back into caregiving
Yep.
for most of that week
Yep.
until my husband could go back to work. And then I still had a sick kid. And then I got sick.
Yep.
And so then I was supposed to start work.
Yeah. You hadn't even
And I'm
had
like,
time.
I haven't even landed yet.
Yeah.
And Bill, take more time.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're ready to come back.
Yeah.
Which he didn't even put a number on it.
Yeah.
And I know that's rare. I know most companies aren't going to do that. But it was such a gift because I was so unsorted and not okay.
Mhm.
And that gave me time to go do the things that I needed to do to even think about showing up
Mhm.
in the office again
Mhm.
or get in
Yeah.
front of my laptop again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I had a pretty similar experience because I had to
mm,
take off time because I knew my dad was going to die. We had a timeline for it. Like I had
yeah,
time. I had to take off time before it. I was his primary caregiver. And so I had to take off time before and then also after. Um, and it took me a long time to wean back into it. And um, I feel like it was more of a weaning back in for me rather than just like, I'm ready to start again. It was
yeah,
more like, I think I'm going to try like a day or two, like, or a few hours, like this week and be a jerk to everybody in the office. Like, just everyone leave me in my space and
it's
don't talk to
fine.
me. And I feel like it's fine. Like I went on a couple Matterports. I went on a Matterport to Boston, it was like my first day back. I went on a Matterport to Boston and I did Matterport and drones and that was really good for me because it was
Yeah.
kind of, that's a very like active, creative
Mm-hmm.
role for me. And the client that I worked with, like I've worked with him for years,
Mm,
and he knew all about he's known me forever. So he's known everything that's been going on with me and my dad. And so when he first saw me, like he gave me a hug and he just like asked all about what was going on, and he was just like super kind,
mm,
and that really helped. And I did my thing. I did my Matterport. I did my drone, and it felt really good. I was just
mm,
like, yeah, I know how to do this. Like
yeah.
I'm good at this. Yes, I needed it, and it didn't take away anything that I was dealing with, but it was a break for a few hours. And after I do a Matterport, I always have like what I feel like is a Matterport high. Like
Yeah.
after I'm done, like I love my drive back from Matterport. So um, that felt really good. I felt accomplished. I feel like I did something helpful, productive for Bill and the company. And so, like, it was just like that was a little drop in. So
Yeah.
that was helpful. And um,
I
so
think that's a good point
yeah.
too. Like if you have someone that is out for bereavement, welcome them back with a task that they can do in their sleep.
Yeah.
Like put them
Yeah.
on an assignment or a
Mhm.
project that is not going to be a heavy lift and that
Mhm.
they can ease back into,
Mhm.
and that will kind of give them that assurance that they know what they're doing and that they
Mhm.
can handle it
Yeah.
again. Because
Yeah.
I know for both of us coming back, it was like, can I even do this?
Mhm.
Can I apply enough of my brain to get this right for the client?
Mhm.
So putting them on something that just is more of a muscle memory for them
Mhm.
and not like a big ask,
Yeah.
I think is really important.
Yeah.
Um, because that also can be kind of a stress reducer for the person coming back too, if they know they're not going to immediately be in this high pressure situation. When just showing up, when
Mm.
just getting themselves ready in the morning is
Yeah.
going to feel like
Yeah.
the climax of the day and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
all they can do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think those will really help.
Yeah.
And they really helped us.
Yeah.
And another thing I know that helped both of us is finding um, creative outlets in the
Yes.
sense of like finding other people's creative work.
Mhm.
and kind of dialing into that
As creative
and leaning
people.
on it
Yeah.
to help us kind of refill that part of ourselves that is so necessary for the jobs that we do.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about
Yeah. So
what helped.
I brought mine.
It's a little bit of a show and tell. So
Yeah, and I wanna, like, name drop. I wanna name drop. I brought all my books. So, my favorite Maine photographer that I know you love too is Sig Harvey. She's
yeah,
a
she's
Maine
fantastic.
photographer, and I am a collector of all of her books, and all of them are signed. Um, so, yeah, I discovered her a long time ago. There's something about her photography that I just love. Just I don't know what it is, but I just like I'm obsessed with her. I have been for years, and so I collect her books. And so I've had um, I think I'm only missing one actually. Sig, if you're listening, there's one I'm missing. I don't remember which one it is. It's none of these. So anyway, um, I months back, I saw that she was coming out with a new one. I pre-ordered it, and in the middle of my grief, uh, it came in the mail, and it was on a week on a day where I was just in a really bad headspace, and I got it and I sat with it and I flipped through it, and I just kind of had this like cathartic like um I don't know. If you're any kind of creative person, if you're any kind of you don't even have to be a photographer. You just understand the creative
Yeah.
brain
hmm
in any way. I just felt this spark back in me, and after feeling truly so dead inside for months, like I really understand the meaning of like having no light behind your eyes. That is how I
hmm
felt for months, and I'm not going to cry as I talk about it because that is how I felt, and it was like I felt a spark of a light again for a second, and I felt like, yeah, I want to get back to it. Like I think that maybe like going out and taking some pictures might make me feel better. Like I suddenly have a desire to do that again. Um and just flipping and just as I flipped through it, I was like, yeah, I got it. I know for my healing, I've got to get back out there and do it. Um, and fortunately, because I love like droning and videography like as a hobby, and I also do that for work, it helps because
hmm
that doing that on my personal time then makes me excited to come back to work.
Yeah.
And so there was a there was a weekend super cold, but over like where my mom lives every year they do a ice fishing derby, and the like the town Facebook page they talked about doing it, and I was like, I'm gonna go drone it. I just feel like that's a really simple thing for me to do. The town will love it. um, that's something I've never done. That will be really fun. I've always wanted to drone on the ice, and so after seeing this, like I took my drone up there and um, I took my sister and we droned it, and it was just a little thing,
hmm
but I felt really good about it. And it was like after that, it was like my brain started rewiring toward like this is good for you. This feels good. Like like the grief hangout, it's still there, but it's kind of like these are the things that make you feel better. And like
It's okay to spend time doing them again.
and one of the things, I cannot talk about this too much because I will cry, but one of the things that my dad told me before he died is like it will help you to get back to work. And so I'm like, for several weeks I was like, I do not think that's going to be true. I don't think I can do that, but I'm starting to feel that again.
Yeah.
So, like, this was my like creative outlet spark. And I know that that has to be true of other people.
hmm
Like, whether it's like a poem you read or it could be anything. And suddenly
Yeah.
you want to get back into it too. Not even if you're going through grief, but sometimes you're just like in a rut and you're just like, what is it that sparks you
Yeah.
and helps you? It's
Yeah. Well, it's a collaboration
yeah.
in a sense. I feel like the same was true for me after my mom passed away.
Mhm.
Um, but it was words. that helped me, which
Yeah.
is strange to me because I was a photographer for years, and I thought maybe I just need to go walk through a museum, but I've always needed to. I've always appreciated about writing. I've been a writer first, photographer second,
Mhm.
my whole life, and anytime something bad has happened in my life, I've needed to get it outside of myself
Yeah.
in order to dissect it and figure out what it is and or what it was, and before I found a place for it,
Mhm.
um, or maybe just didn't need to find a place for it, but just to get rid of it. But a lot of times, the stuff that you can't completely set down, some memories or people, or you have to find a way to define it before you can make the space for it. And so for me, um, I would read a lot of I after my mom, I read a lot of my favorite authors. Like I love Paul Auster. Um, and he was very helpful to me specifically. A lot of his poetry specifically, not his fiction, but just seeing someone else putting their pain into words.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, I couldn't put it into words. It didn't feel like there were words big enough.
Mhm.
And then I brought a book that helped me too. I was in a bookstore, kind of just wandering, um, and I saw this book. It's called Everything is Teeth by Evie Wild. And as soon as I saw the title, I kind of started crying standing there because I was like, that's it. That's exactly what I'm feeling right now.
Mhm.
Everything is teeth.
Yeah.
Like to see it in such simple language did
Yeah.
something to my brain
Yeah.
because it felt like such a big, unconfinable
I
thing.
love that so much.
And here it was in three simple words. So I was a mess. And I just stood there and I read the book cover to cover. It's a graphic novel, memoir.
Mhm.
And it's just so visceral and heavy, but in a light way.
Mhm.
And she uses just the most simple, beautiful words. And the illustrations, um, is it Joe Sumner, are just so perfect with it. And it's such a beautiful way to uncomplicate such a complicated thing like grief. It's not specific to grief, it
Yeah.
touches on grief
Mhm.
and loss,
Mhm.
but just all these undefinable things, kind of currents throughout your life.
Yeah.
And it was just the perfect thing at the
Yeah.
perfect time.
Yeah.
And um, that was my spark. That was like, oh. And then I went home and filled a journal with everything that I needed to say to my mom, say to myself,
Yep.
just get out of my head because I could not bear to carry it anymore.
Mhm.
And then doing that, it made me remember why I love writing and words so much. Like being able to communicate your feelings, and the words are just such beautiful things,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it just, I fell in love with writing again at a time when I didn't, loving anything felt dangerous
Yeah. I
and
get that.
scary,
I get
you know?
that. Yeah.
So that's what I think is so beautiful about, whether it's something like photography or something like writing, finding that thing that makes you realize that it's okay to love things again, or
Mhm.
after you've been hurt so much because of
Yeah.
loving someone so much. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And
I'm excited to read it.
yeah, you can borrow
We
that.
can trade.
Yeah. um, so I think that was a big help in getting back to work too, is having the time to do that though. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what people need. And I think it's really sad when, and I think you find it more in the corporate sphere than you do in small business or small agencies, though it can be there too.
Mhm.
Just this, like, you got to get back to it immediately. You have to be like this big producer of ideas and creativity and
And some
just
people,
output.
yeah, well,
And you're like, I have no input. I have nothing
yeah,
to give
yeah,
back to you right now.
yeah,
And so just having that very human understanding of what it's like to grieve.
yeah,
I mean, nearly everybody on the planet has grieved.
yeah.
So it's like you should have some
Well,
kind of understanding of it.
this was my first big grief. Like I had
Yeah.
never, like I've lost people, but never like this. Never
Not
to
to
the point
this.
where I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is gonna ruin my life.
Yeah.
This is gonna ruin my life.
Yeah.
Like I will never be the same after this. Like I didn't understand until now.
Yeah.
So I do think there are some people who like really get
Who
it,
might,
and some
and
people
then
who
some-
might not yet.
That's true.
Um,
The degree of grief may not be.
But I still think everyone can empathize.
You can have an
I
idea of
still
it.
think you can still empathize and
I
be like,
think
wow, that
so.
sounds bad. Sounds bad.
Sounds like you might need an extra day.
Even
You know?
if you haven't been through it, you can be like, I don't want that for me.
Yeah.
I do not want that for me.
Yeah.
Um,
And maybe be a little kinder about,
yeah.
you know, your expectations. And,
Yeah.
and even as a coworker, if you know someone, you know, that you're working with,
Yeah.
like your expectations of, you know, maybe they're going to be a little snarly. Maybe they're not going to be as, I don't know, maybe they're not going to have as much to offer
Yeah.
right away when they come back.
For
Like
sure.
I remember the first week you came back, you were here, but you weren't.
I was not.
You weren't here in
I was
any
a
way
jerk.
that really.
I was like,
That was okay though.
and I don't
Like,
remember if I said it to you or if I said it to someone else. I've said it to a couple of people. I'm just like, if people love me through this, like, man, like I will know who my people are because I'm being a nightmare and I know it, and also I don't care.
This is, but it was fine.
Yeah.
Like we all were like, hey, she's here.
Mhm.
That's a really
Which
good
is all
thing.
it's all I've got.
Right. And see, you gave 100%
Yeah.
regardless.
Yeah.
Like we knew that was
Logically,
everything.
I don't want to be being a hurtful jerk to people that I
And
care
we
about
know
or
that.
to anyone. But like
Yeah, no,
on a
you're,
real level, I'm
yeah.
just like when you're in that
Mhm.
headspace, you're just kind of like, I don't care about anything.
Yeah.
And I'm so much in survival mode that I'm just like, if I must be doing anything, whether that's grocery shopping or like getting dressed for the day or sending out an email, I am doing it because I must. And I have the
Mhm.
crappiest attitude while I'm doing it. Like until I can build up
Yeah.
like a better attitude, I'm
Yeah.
just doing it out of obligation,
Yep.
and that's enough for now. And
Yeah.
everyone like, and it has meant everything to me. The patience that people have shown through it while I was here, and also before. Like I was able to like have a lot of sense of relief because people like Maddie were just like, I will go do this matter report for you. Don't worry about it. And
Mm.
not only like I'll do it for you, but like did it well. And like I didn't have to worry if she was gonna screw it up. Like
Right.
she was
Yeah.
on it and she did it and she did a great job and she made my clients happy. And I'm just like, that meant a lot too.
Mhm.
Knowing I had people I could rely on
Mhm.
to kind of take over for me for a second, do a good job, and not be just like pestering me and messing it up or like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
like that meant a lot too. And for Bill to just be like, do whatever you got to do. We'll leave you alone. Don't worry.
Mhm.
Like that meant a lot too. Like my other family members like did not necessarily have that same level of like help. My mom only got 5 days off, you know, and she's a teacher, so it's like she's back to taking care of kids, and there's no amount of like being a jerk for her. There's not.
No.
Like the professional, I'm fortunate here that I have people that can just be like, leave Christy alone, stay out of the basement. The basement is a scary place right now. Stay out of it. But for
Don't
her,
look at her. Just let her breathe
Yeah,
in the corner.
but for her, that was not an option. It's like
Yeah.
you can't go
Yeah.
around being a monster to children, like,
Mhm.
unless you're me.
So if you have to put on a facade
Yeah.
during the day,
Yeah.
and that's a tremendous, like,
Mhm.
anyone who is working with somebody who's going through this right now
Mhm.
and are dealing with it, like, understand the effort, like,
Mhm.
appreciate it, and just take whatever they can do.
Mhm.
Let it be enough. Don't expect more.
Mhm.
And if you're going through it and have to put on a facade, I think make sure you make the time to have that space
Yeah.
that you need to just be
Mhm.
completely honest about where
Mhm.
you're at.
Mhm.
And okay, you can't do it during business hours, off hours, just
Yeah.
let it go because
Yeah.
you can't compartmentalize
Yeah.
that stuff
Yeah.
because it's just gonna, you're an open wound. Like you're walking around and
Yeah.
you're just this giant, raw, open wound for
Mhm.
so long.
Mhm.
And everybody's going to irritate you.
Yes.
Everybody, even well meaning friends, are going to say things that just
Mhm.
make you want to scream.
Mhm.
And it's all of that has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got to make the space to do it. And if your boss isn't giving you the time off to do it, you know, find
My si
find those off hours
my
and
my sister was so fortunate. Her coworkers, like, were so kind and donated something like 4 weeks of their time off to her.
oh my God,
Isn't that
that's
amazing? Isn't that
amazing.
amazing?
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was like, "Man, that's incredible." They all came to my dad's funeral. Like, it was just amazing. I was so happy for her.
See, do more of that.
Do more of that.
Be those kind of people.
Mhm.
Because life is horrible. It's
Yeah.
hard. I mean, like, okay, life in general isn't horrible. I take
Yeah.
that back. But
Yeah.
grief is hard.
Yeah.
Grief is terrible.
Yeah.
Be like that.
Yeah. I was really impressed by that. That
Yeah.
meant a lot to me. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We need more people like that.
Yeah.
And we need more like CEOs like Bill
Yes.
who are actual human beings.
Thank you
Props
to
to
that
Bill.
man. Thank you to that man.
He seriously is doing special work here.
He really is. He really is. He tolerates a lot. We tolerate some too, but he puts up with a lot of nonsense. We were antagonizing him during a meeting yesterday, just being so foolish.
I was doing that solely to make Christy
Yeah,
laugh.
and it worked.
You
Like
know?
I think that's the first time I have laughed again back in the office, and it was
Worth it.
it was like it felt good. Like it just I needed it. Just so it was worth it, Bill. Okay? He didn't say anything.
I know.
Did he?
No, I was kind of mad. So, okay, a little backstory.
Tim wasn't having it.
So I brought in some little presents for
Yeah,
Christy.
tell
for
everyone
her-
about Jeff.
So we should get him. We should have brought him over.
I'll
So
go get him.
okay.
Tell everyone about Jeff. I'll go get
Okay.
him.
So I was doing some online shopping and I wanted to get Christy some gifts before she came back into the office to kind of make the office a more cheerful, fun place. And Christy and I have a not so secret love of faux fur. And so I had found this, I guess it's a rug.
I guess it's a rug.
I guess that's what it's supposed to be, but I was thinking it was like a throw for the back of her chair to make her feel really bougie. And
This is Jeff.
online, it did not look like Donald Trump's hairpiece. It looked very different online, and it came in, and I was like,
This is
"Oh my
terrifying.
God, that looks like someone got scalped." But then my immediate thought after that was, okay, his name is Jeff,
Yeah.
and we're gonna do so many things with him.
Yeah.
Like, I knew he was gonna be featured in a lot of our photos and videos because he's just so horrifying. I can't even look at you right now. So yesterday,
He's so horrifying. I love him so
Wait.
much. He's our new pet.
So It's so cold down here in the basement. Like upstairs, the heat works great for everybody, and somehow it just doesn't trickle down here. We have a
Mm-hmm.
bay door, and
Mm-hmm.
so the insulation's not great, and we live in space heater land. So
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm so cold. I'm gonna wear Jeff.
Yeah.
And so I put him under my shirt and then had like Jeff
I can put
hair.
a picture on the screen.
Yeah. Why don't we can share a
Okay,
picture.
watch on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, watch on YouTube. You can see the photo.
And Bill and Tim were on this.
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Bill and Tim were on this really big client call. Well, big in the sense it was one of our bigger clients, and we just decided we were going to go harass them and see if we can get them to laugh on their Zoom call, which is not the most
Okay,
professional thing.
because Tim has a glass door
Yes.
and Bill has a window in his door.
Yeah. So we were like, perfect. We're going to get these guys to lose it on the call.
So they both have their doors shut, but
So I walked upstairs and Tim would not look at me. He was so like,
he was like, I know
on that call,
I know nonsense is
I'm
happening and I
standing in
refuse
front
to look up.
of the window of his door, well, the glass, and I'm just like,
she's just popping out chest hair,
and then it's coming out the bottom of my shirt. It was so obnoxious and gross and just hideous. And he finally looked up and he lost it. So I was like, yes, mission accomplished. Bill, I had to stand up on a chair.
On a rolly chair.
Right. Because don't tell my husband. I just had surgery. He's going to be like, what did you do? But he couldn't really see. All he could see was like the chest hair part coming out of my collar. And so I'm like, I got to like pretend that I'm dusting the top of I got to stand on something.
Mhm.
So I grabbed Maddie's slipper and we got one of the chairs and I stood up. So the only thing in the window was my torso. Like he couldn't miss it. No reaction.
So
Zero.
I think he also was like, I'm not looking at. It's kind of like encouraging a child's bad behavior.
Yeah.
Like I can't acknowledge this,
Do not engage.
or the child will double down.
Do not engage.
And we are being children,
Yes.
and he's just like, this isn't funny. I can't let them know this is funny or cute because they will double down.
And they will do this more.
They'll do this
like it
more.
does not take much.
And so he was just in total dad form. He was just like,
side eye, look away,
Yep.
back to business.
Yep.
And I'm like, ooh, this just inspires me to be worse.
We're like, we are in trouble later for sure.
This is a challenge, though.
But
Like, I'm taking this as a challenge.
oh, so immature, so stupid.
I
I was gonna
know,
say there's a
but-
picture of me I can put on the screen too of me sitting at screaming into Jeff.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
He's so useful. Like, what did we do without him?
yeah. Take naps on him. He's just I can't decide if he's like a dog or a Highland cow or just he's just
I don't
our
really
pet
care.
rug. He's just our pet
He's
rug.
our pet rug.
He's our pet rug. So
So maybe consider getting your grieving coworker a
Yeah.
pet, an office pet.
an office pet rug. That is terrifying. That reminds you of Donald.
Right. Well, I don't like that part of
Yeah.
it so much. We don't need that part of it.
And yet here we are.
I know.
So what's coming for the Free Dive podcast?
So we're so excited about the start of our newsletter. We are going to be
Yes.
starting a newsletter.
Yes.
So more of this
Yeah.
in printed form, which isn't as exciting. We get
Yeah.
it.
We won't annoy you.
We get it. Maybe we'll put pictures of us in there.
Like if this isn't annoying you yet, like
It's not going to be annoying. It'll be fun to read.
in copy
Like,
form, it couldn't possibly.
We're not big fans of making marketing boring
Yeah.
because it can be very stuffy very
Mhm.
quick. And I don't think anybody in our office is stuffy.
Mm-mm.
Like well,
I've worked it out of some people.
that's true. You may have started that way.
I broke Tim in like
Yeah,
fast.
you did. Tim was all business. When
He's
he
a
showed up
totally
here.
different person now.
All business,
Yeah.
and now he's.
We really need to get his wife on here to interview to be like, what are the differences you've seen in Tim since he started working here?
Yeah. How has marketing changed your life? Has it been the marketing?
How has me harassing Tim changed your life, Simone? No, just kidding, kind of.
But I'm really excited about the newsletter
Yeah.
because we're going to be, it's going to be like little snippets of insights and tips for marketing,
hmm
but
Extra info, extra things you're not getting here.
an extra window into our culture.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the way we market and the personalities in this office are what make this
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I I don't think I would be. I did marketing on my own for a while.
hmm
When I had my own business for over a decade, I did all of it myself.
Yeah.
Websites, printing,
Yeah.
everything, photography,
Yeah.
and design. But the idea of working for a marketing agency was just like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm gonna choke on corporate,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was never attractive to me
Yeah.
until Bill was like, hey, come work for me. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, I know you're unconventional because
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. And so getting an
So
inside look into what that can look like
yeah.
is good. And I think, um, yeah, it definitely looks different everywhere. But for us, like, I like people knowing, like, we have a lot of different listeners. Like, we have clients that listen, we have friends that listen, we have randos that listen.
Hmm.
Thank you, randos.
We
um,
love you.
I'm hoping we grow more from this episode and from the podcastathon or from the American Cancer Society. Please stick around for more. But yeah, I think it's just a good look into some of our company culture and just knowing that, um, we do things a little bit differently from other agencies, but
Hmm.
um,
It's the same work, but it's done different. You know what I mean?
yeah, like
Like there's not a
yeah,
huge,
yeah,
there is a lot to marketing, but
yeah,
it's like the same pieces, the same
yeah,
puzzle pieces, but
yeah.
ours just are cut
Yeah,
different.
and we've talked about
You
this a
know?
lot. Like, go back and watch other, like, old episodes. Like, we've talked about this a lot, just like the difference between how we operate here, and how it works for us and how
And how much fun we
we
have.
have fun and yet we put out really good work. So,
That's but that's like the biggest concept that is so hard for people to grasp is
mhm,
that we all deeply enjoy hanging out with each other, but also just have fun with the work.
yeah.
We're not careless with the client work. You know what
Mhm.
I mean?
Well, we
It's fun
have
without being careless,
yeah,
but we actually can have fun doing it. And I think it just astonishes so many people and that we often talk a lot about how we have people ask us all the time, what do you guys do?
yeah.
So I haven't gotten it as much
I haven't either.
lately since we've had the
I think we
podcast.
burned it out of people.
Right? We're just like, stop asking me that. You know, look, this
I
is what we
think having a
do.
look into it has helped. I really
Yeah.
do. I
Yeah.
really do.
But because people see that we enjoy our work so much, they're like, how are you working?
Mhm.
Because the concept of actually enjoying your work is still
Mhm.
so foreign to so
Mhm.
many people, especially in this
Yeah,
industry,
yeah,
which is
in
shocking
corporate,
to me.
in
I'm like,
corporate. Mhm.
you have to be enjoying it. Find a perspective or a way to do this that keeps that spark and that you actually, it's not painful.
We keep clients because of it, I'll tell you that. Like, they
Yeah.
love our stupid, ugly sweater parties and, things that we do. They think it's fun, they think it's funny. It keeps a really, like, healthy
Mm,
culture and in relationship with our clients. We have a whole episode on that. Like
yeah.
anyway, we could talk about this for hours. We already have, but
Mm.
moving forward, new things are coming. We have talked. Please just know, like, we've talked in depth about how we can make this better for our audience, like how we can improve this. This is not just like we've sat down and just not thought this out. Like, we're just chatting.
Yeah.
Like, we have strategy behind this. We're constantly like analyzing the analytics. Like, we want this to be helpful to specific people for you, and we are open to feedback. So there is a plan and purpose
Yeah.
behind this, in addition to being stupid and having fun.
Well, before, like, our podcast is still kind of in its
It
infancy,
is. It
honestly.
really is. It hasn't
Like,
even
we're
been a year.
still right. And we had so much happen. Like, I missed the launch day
Yeah.
because that's when my health totally went in the crapper and things started for me and
Mhm.
got serious real fast.
Yeah.
And so then I was on medical leave, surgery.
Mhm.
So everything got shunted to you
Yeah.
instead of this being a
Yeah.
collaboration and partnership. Like we were supposed to do this
Mhm.
together.
Mhm.
So then she took it on. In the meantime, her dad is dying from cancer,
Mhm.
and she's, like she said, you know, you were
Yeah.
his primary caregiver.
Yeah.
So we had all these things that just stopped us from realizing all of the things that we wanted to do with this podcast.
Mhm.
And so we kind of like, you know, built it up a little bit and
Mhm.
tried to like, you know, we were kind of building with sand,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of
Yeah. While sinking in the quicksand.
right. So we had just so many things going against us this first year. So now that, you know, you're coming back to life and
Mhm.
I'm just about out of my recovery
Mhm.
and able to, and I'm just so ready. Like we both were in such a creatively dormant period
Yeah.
that now it's just like we're busting with energy and ideas, and we're like,
Yeah.
finally we can realize what we wanted to do
Yeah.
from the beginning.
Yeah.
So we're very, very excited about
Mhm.
moving forward with it. And
Yeah.
we hope that everybody else stays with us. The ones who
Stay
have
with
found
us.
us initially, and if you're finding us for the first time with this
Yeah.
specific episode,
Yeah.
like we're very excited that you found us, and
Yeah.
we hope that
Thank you for being here.
you enjoy it too.
Yeah. So comment, like, subscribe, review.
Do all the things.
Whatever platform you're on right now, we would just love you forever and ever and ever if you did all those
For
things.
reals.
So the
We
comments
make
especially.
besties all
Every
the
time,
time.
like whenever we get comments, like comment whatever you want. Like I love it. I get excited. We've gotten a few like really.
It doesn't take much
Yeah,
to get us excited.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It doesn't. But it makes me really happy. Guys, I haven't had a lot of happiness these last few
Right.
months. Like,
help Christy keep her spark back, guys.
I've been really sad for a long time.
We're trying to get the happy back.
I hear like what is that artist like with the really sad music with the puppies?
What? I have zero
I
clue.
wanted to say Alanis Morissette. It's not Alanis Morissette.
Name one song that
In the
Alanis
Arms of the
Morissette has a
Angel
puppy.
playing. In the Arms of the Angel playing.
Oh.
And I'm just like, with your comment alone, you can help this girl start to recover from grief. Yes, Sarah McLachlan.
Yep.
Thank you. With your comment and like and subscribe, you can help in the aiding of healing this girl.
Our outro is going to be Sarah McLachlan for this episode.
Okay, we're crossing lines now. So sorry. This is your first impression of us. Welcome. Love you so much. Okay, we're gonna run over time now. So, love you so much. We'll be back next week. We have to. Well, maybe not us, but it could be someone. It could be Bill.
It will be us again.
Yeah, it will be us. We'll be back.
Yeah.
Someone will be back. We'll be back. Okay. Love you. Goodbye.
Mwah.
It's the end.
No, it's not. There's more.
There's always more.
Don't be sad. You can catch our full video interviews on our YouTube channel. Come find us.
And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friends so that we're not sad.
And follow us on TikTok.
And Instagram.
It'll make your day happier, promise.
And we'll know if you do. Until next time.